Hey there! Did you guys know you can hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of my videos? Yeah, I know, right? Who wouldn't want to stay up to date with a guy who can't even slur his own words? Legit though, I would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell and hit the like and comment and share because I need food and I want to do this for food. You know, if that makes sense. Anyway, that's enough shilling. Just do what you like, but seriously, do subscribe. On with the video. In 2011, Sonic Generations properly introduced us to the concept that classic and modern Sonic are the past and current version of our beloved Blue Hedgehog. 6 years later, Sonic forces threw a wrench in that and retroactively made it that classic Sonic came from another universe. Whether this was done to facilitate more classic content without interfering with the modern branch of the franchise is basically up in the air at the moment. And as much as I disliked this change and thought it was absolutely unnecessary, it does bring up an interesting idea. What if we could go back and modernize the classics? Or at least, what if we made the 2D games into good 3D games? What if we could go back and adjust some stuff to make later games fit better? So I decided to do just that. Welcome to my pitch/psychotic breakdown. I've spent a few weeks thinking up a way to work the classic games, Sonic 1 through 3K, into a modern-esque setting, adding background stuff from later games like Gun or Chaos to make it more cohesive in its continuity. And as a resident Sonic lore expert, I obviously know that a lot of stuff in the Sonic franchise works retroactively. Some stuff even being hinted at as early as 1994 before being properly used in 1998. But what if all that background lore stuff was properly used? Not in a way that has it screaming like, "Whoa, check out this Chaos mural!" But more subtle. What if we could explain why Eggman was just able to do stuff while Gun should have been on his ass from the moment the last name Robotnik showed up again? And I'd like to think I did a pretty good job. So, before we properly begin, here's how this video is going to work. The bulk of this video will be the story. I've written down every stage and what it would add to the story. I also briefly mentioned Postgame and how the characters play. I do need you to remember though, before we go in, that this is all taking place in some magical alternate universe where a Sonic team isn't mismanaged and has tools at their disposal that aren't duct taped together, where Sonic isn't forced to slow down to do archaic Mario-style platforming, and where you're rewarded for being a good player with secrets and goodies. And with that out of the way, sit back, grab a drink, because this might be a long one, and let me introduce you to Sonic Genesis, or Sonic Legacy: The Death Egg Saga. Either or. So, the tutorial. Central City. A younger Sonic speeds through Central City, jumping across cars, speeding along walls. Sonic isn't as known as he would be after this adventure. Sonic has tussled with Eggman before, using the various flickies among the world to fuel his robots. The general populace, however, sees Eggman as an entertainer and entrepreneur, setting up casinos, housing an entire green energy plant as a front and a way to fund his various creations. Eggman has a hold over every major city among the world. Gun doesn't see it as a problem, but is aware of his misadventures, being swept under the rug for being Gerald Robotnik's grandson, and figuring it wasn't worth the trouble of dealing with another Robotnik after the last 50 years. As Sonic speeds through Central City, looking at all the sights and taking in the culture of the citygoers, he catches a newscast. Somewhere down below on the stage, a giant TV screen is talking about Eggman Industries recently having found the urban legends' South Island, and is implementing his green energy and creating the world's first pure, eco-fueled city. Sonic, knowing about the island's connection to the mythical Chaos Emeralds, he immediately sees through Eggman's public plans and sets off towards his biplane, the Tornado. Sonic blasts back through the streets into the plains right outside the city. The Tornado is standing between some hills. However, it's being guarded by Motobugs, a quick close-up combat tutorial, and Sonic sets off, following a small group of buzz bombers en route from the mainland towards South Island. Stage 1. South Island, Green Hill plus Labyrinth. Sonic lands the Tornado on a beach on South Island and sets off towards Green Hill Zone. Green Hill looks exactly the same as usual. It's green and it has hills. Sonic will remark about the immediate area looking beautiful. After rolling through some loops, Sonic drops down due to a tremor caused by one of Eggman's badniks into the labyrinth. Sonic tries his best to stay above the water. As he's traversing the water's surface, he notices a group of badniks running off of one of the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic gives chase and destroys the badniks and naps one of the Chaos Emeralds as he exits the labyrinth. Cutscene number 1. Total quick side note, I messed up. There was a little mini cutscene in between the tutorial stage, and I wrote that down as cutscene 1. So I said this cutscene is meant to be cutscene 2. Don't worry about it, fixes itself. I love you. Sonic exits the labyrinth and enters Spring Yard, a new, recreational, and profitable living area built by Eggman as a vacation resort, tentatively titled Casa de Eggman. It's an urban setting filled with casino imagery. Sonic walks around Spring Yard as even he has to admit that Eggman has an eye for architecture when he wants to, annoyed that it's just a front for him to get away with destroying the livelihoods of the Flickies. Stage number 2, Casa de Eggman, Spring Yard plus Starlight. Sonic speeds through Spring Yard Zone, now a bit more obviously a casino resort as opposed to the more questionable area in Sonic 1. Cope and CPU messages still lighting up the now evening sky on South Island. Sonic blasts through the casino resort, and after a short onslaught of Batniks, Sonic enters the still being built Starlight, the second section of Casa de Eggman that's still in the process of being built, more akin to a rest and relaxation resort as opposed to the hustle and bustle of the casino right behind it. Falling platforms, high-rise scaffolding, and giant open holes in the floor will have Sonic parkour his way through the barely functional resort before being stopped by a giant Batnik and greeted by none other than Eggman himself. Boss number 1, Guardbug. A giant piloted motobug for the sole purpose of keeping unwanted visitors out of the construction site. Eggman greets Sonic, and Ever the Entertainer tries to act coy and pretend he's only on South Island to expand his repertoire of recreational facilities. Sonic, playing along, has some fun back and forth with Eggman as he starts thrashing the oversized motobug. Eggman, getting annoyed with the destruction of his guard bug, starts getting annoyed and drops the act, telling him to hand over the emerald that Sonic stole from him down in the labyrinth. Sonic pretends he has no idea what he's talking about and destroys the guard bug. Eggman flies away in his Eggmobile, but not before gloating that his plans are already in motion and can't be stopped, and he sets off explosives that send Sonic right down into Marble Zone. Stage 3, Scrap in the Brain, Marble plus Scrap Brain. Sonic is blasted into the depths of Marble Zone and narrowly avoids being thrown into lava. As Sonic traverses the maze below the islands, he enters what seems to be another section of the labyrinth, but it's white and filled to the brim with poisonous chemicals. Sonic parkours his way up to the surface and finds himself in Eggman's base of operations high up on South Island. Sonic starts speeding through Eggman's death traps, freeing the animals from their robotic entrapments, with Scrap Brain looking like it's about to blow itself up at any moment. Sonic bursts through Eggman's doors, and awaiting him is Eggman, sitting at his desk with a Chaos Emerald in hand. Boss number 2, Egg Crusher. Eggman gloats about the fact that Sonic can't stop his newest plan no matter how hard he tried. Sonic tries to get the doctor to spill the beans on his plan, but Eggman isn't ready to let the fun end. Eggman pushes a button on his desk, and the entire room, which was looking like a pretty sophisticated office room, suddenly transforms and takes on a look more akin to the original Final Zone. The Emerald starts fueling Eggman's death machine, the Egg Crusher, and Sonic has to dodge Eggman's giant cylinders. After a few hits and a few remarks on the Hedgehog, Eggman, absolutely pissed, starts spamming his buttons. With his constant slamming against the floor and Scrap Brain's already destroyed state, the building collapses, and Sonic and Eggman start careening towards the bottom of the island. A mid-air boss battle starts, with Eggman using the Emerald's power and his Eggmobile to try and crash into Sonic. Sonic sends back all the debris his way. Sonic knocks away the Chaos Emerald from Eggman before they hit the ground, taking it in hand and crashes on the bottom of the island. Both are knocked out in the fallout. Cutscene number 3. Sonic wakes up in the remaining rubble of Scrap Brain. The explosion of the main building had caused all of Eggman's workers to shut down. The early morning sun shines on the island, as the animals on the island all come to help up Sonic from the rubble. Sonic looks at the 2 emeralds he now possesses, and notices that Eggman was long gone from the island. Sonic, slightly annoyed that Eggman got away again, thanks the animals for their help, and sets off towards the tornado, making sure nothing bad had happened to the island while he was in Scrap Brain. South Island, despite the now powered-down resort, seems to be fully intact. Checking up on the various animals around the island, Sonic sets off in the tornado. His time on South Island, however, has inspired Sonic to set off towards another island, because if Eggman found South Island, then Sonic knew he could find West Side Island, another urban legend, and be one step ahead of Eggman, and maybe take a bit of a breather. Sonic speeds off towards the horizon with the emeralds in his possession, and manages to find West Side Island. Landing on Emerald Hill, Sonic takes note that Emerald Hill looks pretty identical to Green Hill. The urge to explore, however, immediately takes over Sonic. Seeing the brand new locales in front of him, Sonic speeds off. But little does he know, something starts following him. Intermission Stage, number 1. West Side Vacation, Emerald Hill plus Hilltop. Sonic speeds through the corkscrew loops on the checker patterned soil. The stage has animals running through it with no enemies. Sonic takes in the sights of the waterfalls and starts working his way up to Hilltop. Sonic starts noticing something following behind him as he travels upward. Figuring it's a Flicky just following along, Sonic speeds up and runs through the mountain region of Hilltop. Throughout the stage, Sonic notices the shadowy figure following him, and at the end of the stage, stops to investigate. Cutscene number 4. Sonic grinds to a halt and calls out for whatever is following him to show themselves. Introducing Miles Prower, a young fox with two tails. Miles introduces himself to Sonic. Sonic, confused by Miles but following him around, questions whether he's a spy for Eggman. Miles immediately gets flustered and tells Sonic that he saw him arriving on his biplane and felt the urge to follow him around. Miles explains that he likes working with machines and that he feels he doesn't really belong anywhere, being made fun of by the other inhabitants of Westside Island. Sonic takes pity on the fox, telling him he can follow him along as long as he doesn't cramp his style. He tells Miles he can show him his biplane if he can keep up. Miles immediately floats around Sonic using his tails. Sonic is taken aback a bit, but compliments Miles on his ability to fly. They shake hands and set off towards Emerald Hill. A few days pass, and Sonic is taking a nap in the shade of the tornado's wings, while Miles happily familiarizes himself with how the plane's internals work. A sudden earthquake races Sonic to his feet. Miles and Sonic look on in the distance and see an armada of buzz bombers. Sonic smirks towards Miles and tells him that if he wants to tag along and learn from Sonic, this is the best chance he'll get. Miles steels himself and nods, and the two set off towards the source of the tremors. Stage 4. Prologue to Ruin. Aquatic Ruin plus Chemical Plant. Sonic and Miles speed off towards the source of the tremors, ending up in the ruins of the civilization that once called Westside Island its home. Miles and Sonic have to dodge still remaining traps combined with the badniks that now roam the island. Eggman's fleet is seen hovering above the island, sending troops down to the surface. As the ruins end, Miles and Sonic start smelling a sickly chemical smell, and find themselves in Eggman's refinement center, the aptly named Chemical Plant. Sonic tells Miles he did the same thing on South Island and saw what happened with the surrounding area. Sonic and Miles immediately focus on destroying the chemical plant before it can do real damage to Westside Island. The plant starts exploding around them, leading into the heart of the plant. They find that the plant is powered by an emerald. Miles is absolutely astounded by the tech in play and geeks out a bit at all the electronics and work. Sonic's two emeralds start glowing, and Miles takes note that the emeralds seem to act as beacons. After the two steal the emerald from Eggman, the plant itself starts self-destructing. With no power keeping everything in check, the countdown starts. Sonic and Miles start running for their lives. Cutscene number 5. Sonic and Miles barely make it out of the exploding plant. Being launched high up into the air, Miles gathers himself and helps his hero by grabbing him and flying down to the ground. Sonic, impressed with Miles' quick thinking in that scenario, pats his head. At that moment, Eggman shows up. Eggman berates them for destroying his plant and tells the two to hand over the emeralds they have. Sonic smirks and taunts Eggman, while Miles is terrified of seeing Eggman up close. Eggman takes advantage of Miles' stunned state and fires a rocket towards the fox. Sonic pushes Miles out of the way, getting hit by the rocket. The emeralds fly away from Sonic. Miles is frozen in place on the floor as Sonic is struggling to stand up after a direct hit. Eggman starts gathering the emeralds, and Miles finally unfreezes. Eggman starts his escape as he's laughing his lungs out. Miles flies into the Eggmobile and gets dragged along. Sonic quickly gathers himself and charges after his newfound buddy. Boss number 3. Egg Chase per hour. Rushing through the destroyed plant, Sonic bounces falling debris on the distracted Eggman. Miles, meanwhile, is in the cockpit trying to nab the emeralds back from Eggman. Sonic has to dodge through explosions and chemical waste. After enough hits, Eggman shakes off Miles and runs off, cursing Sonic and Miles. Cutscene number 6. Sonic runs towards Miles and helps him up. Annoyed that the young fox did something as reckless as he did, Miles looks up at Sonic and shows him the 2 emeralds he managed to nab back from Eggman. Sonic pats him on the head and tells him to not do something as stupid as that again. Miles nods and the two share a fist bump before setting off towards the blinking lights in the distance. Stage number 5. Casino Cavern. Casino Night plus Mystic Cave. Sonic and Miles arrive at Eggman's newest casino. Bright flashing lights and slot machines line the street with stands run by Eggman's robots everywhere. The smell of food and sounds of elevator music running through the air. The atmosphere is actually quite nice. Commercials of Eggman's company repeating on the TVs talking about the Eggman Enterprise, advertising the new Metropolis soon opening it up. Another Egg Energy run city soon opening up on Westside Island. The audio from the TV also talks about Eggman's various public accomplishments. Mentioning his familial ties to General Robotnik, Miles and Sonic speed off towards the heart of the casino. However, various roadblocks stop the two from progressing. Ending up in a darkened room, the two suddenly fall down an elevator shaft and arrive in Mystic Cave. Batniks and scaffolding line the dimly lit halls of the Amethyst Mines as Eggman's forces seemingly start retreating back towards the surface. Miles and Sonic take out the remaining forces while finding a way back. The two end up at Eggman's newly built oil refinery. Cutscene number 7. Oil as far as the eye can see, and flaming towers that expel a sickly smell. Sonic and Miles are sickened by the sight. Looking onward in the distance, however, a city just on the horizon. Batniks line the skies as Sonic and Miles catch a glimpse of the 5 emeralds in containers being carried off by buzz bombers towards the city in the distance. Miles remarks that they can't just let this oil refinery destroy the local area. Sonic smirks and says he's proud of the young fox for taking a stand like that. The two laugh and set off towards the oil ocean to destroy it and free the Flickies. Stage 6. Oil Run Metropolis. Oil Ocean plus Metropolis. Miles and Sonic carefully destroy the various Batniks and machinery that run the plant. All of it seems to be getting siphoned directly towards the giant city. The two dodge fire traps and Miles helps carry Sonic through the more bottomless pits part of the plant. Making their way to Metropolis, it becomes increasingly more obvious that all the oil refinement wasn't for the city itself. The city is lined with energy tubes that have become Eggman's staple green energy source. So the question is, where the hell is all that oil going? Sonic and Miles are greeted by floating screens and Eggman's joyful laughter as he watches the two race towards him in the emeralds, mocking them. The actual city itself looks like a mixture of Metropolis and Grand Metropolis from Heroes. If it's not obvious, I'm tying Heroes into partially taking place on West Side Island. Clockwork platforms mixed with floating energy paths that carry Sonic and Miles to the top of Metropolis. It is there that they find Eggman, the remaining emeralds, and multiple giant ships. Boss number 4. Sky Chase. The boss fight starts off with a small cutscene where Eggman distracts the two heroes with mocking. However, in the background of the shot, you can see 2 Batniks sneaking up behind Miles and Sonic. The two are taken aback and the last 2 emeralds are stolen from them. Quickly, the Batniks retreat back to Eggman's side and he starts wheezing over the fact it was that easy to keep him distracted. As the fleet prepares to leave, Sonic tells Miles to rush back and grab the tornado and come back while he deals with Eggman's fleet. Miles nods, and the kid flies off, but not before giving Eggman a death glare that catches him off guard. The boss fight features Sonic running after Eggman as he quickly chases towards the giant ship in the background. Hitting Batniks back against the Eggmobile, running on platform carrying Batniks that just form a path for some mysterious reason. As Eggman gets a word from his Batniks that the ship is ready to take off, Eggman disperses the Batniks and Sonic runs out of footing. Just as Sonic falls though, Miles shows up and picks up Sonic with the wings of the tornado, and the two chase after Eggman onto his flagship. Stage 7. Revenge of the Eggman. Skyfleet plus Death Egg. Miles and Sonic chase after Eggman with a tornado, however Eggman shoots down the biplane. Sonic jumps off, but Miles stubbornly stays in the plane, seemingly crashing back to the planet. Sonic shouts for Miles to jump out, but the fox slaughters the plane. Sonic, now enraged, runs to the flagship solo. The stage features basically what you'd expect from Skyfleet originally. Halfway through the stage, you catch up to Eggman, and instead of having a boss fight with a laser and barrier, you instead watch as Eggman uses an escape pod while the 7 emeralds kinda hover near him, and he's tackling his baggy ass off. You race towards the pod but are left watching as Eggman's rocket takes off into the atmosphere. As the scaffolding starts crashing due to the sheer force of the rocket taking off, you attempt to traverse the fallen platforms. But you quickly run out of footing, and in comes Miles Prower with a tornado. Sonic is happy to see his friend safe, and after a heartfelt thank God from the both of them, Sonic at this point starts calling Miles Tails. Tails is happy as can be with his new nickname, and they set off. As the tornado barely manages to stay up to speed with the rocket, Tails throws out an invention he worked on in the free time the 2 had before Eggman showed up on the island, hooking the tornado onto the rocket and being carried up out of Earth's atmosphere and onto Eggman's new space station, the Death Egg. The tornado gently floats behind the spaceship as the 2 jump off onto the brand new battle station. The Death Egg is exactly what you'd expect, death traps and gravity-based platforming everywhere. Sonic and Tails set off to take down the giant floating egg before Eggman can actually do any damage. Also, side note, the aesthetic of the Death Egg is more akin to Sonic 2. You'll see why. As the stage progresses, the 2 reach the heart of the Death Egg. As if Eggman isn't even trying to hide the fact that he's evil anymore, all semblance of a facade is gone. Unlike Scrap Brain, where his office was essentially a normal-looking room, this place is filled with stained glass and machinery that is hooked up to the 7 emeralds. Before Sonic and Tails could get close to the emeralds, though, an alarm goes off. Tails notices a door about to crush the 2 and pushes Sonic away in time. However, he himself is locked behind the door. Sonic shouts for Tails, but he gives a thumbs up behind the window and runs off to help Sonic from the outside. It's at this point Eggman shows up. During the stage, you hear Eggman announce to the world that he's planning on using the Death Egg to create his ultimate theme park, Robotnik Land, on the ruins of whatever city he deems fit. He laughs maniacally and ends the broadcast. Boss number 5, Death Egg Robo. No cutscene this time. Instead, Eggman lands into the area with the Death Egg Robo, mocking Sonic and Tails for their failure to collect the emeralds. Sonic shrugs and tells Eggman to get ready because he's going to tear down this new toy of his. You try to hit the Death Egg Robo, but you quickly notice he's glowing golden as you hit him. The Egg Robo is charged by the 7 emeralds, and you're entirely incapable of doing anything. You spend some time dodging his attacks and trying to attack him. However, after like 40 seconds of this, an alarm goes off and Tails appears on the screen behind Eggman. Tails managed to hack into the Death Egg's computer and disconnect the Robo from the emeralds. Tails mocks Eggman, who's absolutely livid. You now have the chance to beat up the Death Egg Robo. After the usual 8 to 10 hits, however, the area starts exploding. Sonic is almost knocked out, but manages to stand up and starts making his way to the emeralds. Eggman, in the wreckage of the Death Egg Robo, attempts to stop Sonic, but just at the last second, the emeralds start glowing in response to Sonic's desire to stop Eggman. Sonic transforms into Super Sonic. Cutscene number 8. Eggman looks on at the now golden Sonic, standing before him. He mutters as he tries to quickly make an escape. Sonic just looks on as he watches Eggman try and escape. He sighs and leaves Eggman in the rubble of the Death Egg Robo. Super Sonic speeds off and crashes through the entirety of the Death Egg, destroying anything he could set his sights on. The Death Egg starts crashing, and Sonic returns to Eggman, offering him a hand. Eggman scowls that he'd rather crash alongside the Death Egg than take Sonic's pity. Sonic goes to grab Eggman's hand to get him off the crashing station, but Eggman presses a button and Sonic is locked behind the screen as Eggman starts cackling. Sonic claims that Eggman will die, and Eggman just smirks and says he'll always be back, before the ground underneath him starts giving in, eventually crashing down. Sonic looks on in surprise, but quickly snaps out of it as Tails exclaims that they need to get out of there and that he's going back for the tornado. Sonic starts speeding out of the area and watches as the Death Egg starts crashing back into the atmosphere. Sonic spots the tornado flying away from the station and flies over to his biplane. Tails, hurriedly trying to find Sonic, doesn't notice him landing on top of the wings of the tornado. Tails looks on in awe as his friend and hero transforms back from his golden glow to his usual cool blue self. Sonic looks back, winks, and gives a thumbs up to Tails. The two laugh and set off back towards West Side Island, the Death Egg crashing in the background. Tails lands the tornado on the beaches of West Side Island. The two crash down into the sand and take a moment to enjoy the ambiance of the waves. Sonic sits up and says, "Good job, little buddy." Tails smiles and sheepishly laughs. Tails then notes that with Eggman gone, Sonic will probably be leaving pretty soon for another adventure. Tails looks off into the distance, and Sonic happily notes that there's still so much to see out there, and that he bets Tails hasn't ever been to the mainland before. Tails immediately stands up and asks Sonic if he can really come with him. Sonic winks and says he can't just leave his sidekick on an island. Tails jumps up and starts happily flying around Sonic. Sonic tells Tails to calm down, and as the two settle back into the tornado, they fly off into the sunset. Meanwhile, however, the Death Egg is still crashing, and Eggman is desperately trying to find a way to relaunch the station. However, as luck would have it, the Death Egg just happens to be on a direct crash course with a mysterious floating island. Eggman braces for impact, and the Death Egg crashes directly into the mountains of this mysterious island. Eggman is launched outside the Death Egg and finds himself in a strange new land as he looks around and sees the flickies. He smiles as his next scheme is already being brought into motion. Unbeknownst to him, though, a mysterious figure watches from the distance. Intermission stage number 2, Coastline Wreck, Emerald Coast plus Station Square. A few weeks later, Sonic and Tails are off exploring the mainland. The two are off in Station Square, the citygoers looking on at the two as they zoom past the various cars and buildings. A news report on TV nearby mentions that Eggman hasn't been seen ever since his mysterious space station crashed down a few weeks ago. The wreckage hasn't been found, nor is there any trace of Eggman himself, despite there being a small tidal wave around the area of impact. Some people even question whether that channel hijack from a few weeks ago was even him. Sonic and Tails shrug it off. Tails tells Sonic that he's picking up a strange reading on the Emerald Radar, which he built in the intermission because Sonic has the 7 emeralds, if you know. Sonic wonders what's up with that, and the two speed off towards the location of the signal, moving past the train station and entering Emerald Coast. The two rush off towards the signal somewhere on the coastline. Sonic will take note of the whales in the distance, unaware of his future encounters with them. The two arrive at the location and find a strange ring engraved with ancient runes. Surrounding it is some wreckage and what happens to be beat-up battery scraps. Tails continues tinkering with the radar, but Sonic checks out the inscription on the ring. He has no idea what it says, but he does recall an old legend about an ancient civilization that abused the power of the Chaos Emeralds and were punished by the gods, forced to live on a floating island for the rest of eternity. Sonic always figured it was just an urban legend, but he now holds the very 7 Chaos Emeralds. Combined with the machinery and that mysterious tidal wave mentioned earlier, Sonic grabs Tails and the two speed up back towards the city. Sonic mentions that he has an idea about where the ring came from, and the two speed off to where the tornado was parked. Obviously, the stage would be a throwback to Sonic Adventure's Hub World and its first stage. Nice and fun city stage to get you ready for the next island adventure. Not much to say about it, less bit of modern architecture before you get to Angel Island. Back on Angel Island, Eggman is seen in the midst of preparing the Death Egg at launch base. A quick flashback shows Eggman meeting with Knuckles a few hours after he crashed on Angel Island. Knuckles is shown to be wary of Eggman and asks him about the giant egg, confusing it for a prophesized dragon egg that will destroy the island. Flashing back to Eggman at launch base, he starts laughing that he managed to fool Knuckles by telling him he was trying to protect the emeralds from Sonic and Tails. The scene cuts to Knuckles at the Master Emerald Shrine. He presses a hidden button, and the entire shrine drops down into the island itself. He then starts walking away from the now empty plot field, lamenting that he'll be ready for whenever Sonic decides to try and steal the Master Emerald. A Batnik in one of the trees surrounding the area, recording every one of Knuckles' movements. Stage 8, Tropical Welcome, Angel Island. In a small change of pace, Angel Island isn't a mixture of different stages. Stage starts off in the same way as the original. Sonic and Tails arrive on Angel Island, and Sonic transforms into Super Sonic as he rushes towards the island. Sonic is intercepted by Knuckles, and the 7 emeralds are knocked out of Sonic. Knuckles then collects them, and they disappear in a flash. Tails arrives to see Sonic on the ground and helps Sonic stand up. Sonic angrily questions Knuckles why he did that, but Knuckles just looks pissed off at Sonic and is carried away by Batniks before Sonic can respond. The stage itself is pretty reminiscent of the original Angel Island. No giant rings this time, however, no special stages, so no way to fit those in. It's a jungle, it's got Batniks and waterfalls. Halfway through the stage, Eggman torches the place like in the original, and you now have to deal with fire hazards alongside everything else, parkouring up trees leading to secret areas and hidden bits. You also start noticing in hidden areas that there's notebooks and abandoned research stations that look almost modern. This is something you'll be seeing a lot in the Sonic 3 stages if you're secret hunting, and I'll talk about specific collectibles a little later on. Stage 9, Hydraulic Velocity, Hydro City, and Marble Garden. So Angel Island ends like the original. Sonic and Tails are thrown off the jungle and into the aqueducts below. Same as usual, though much like the Mania version, if you properly stay up the upper route, you can stay out of the water. Run over the water, run up and down all around, easy peasy. Halfway through the stage, Sonic and Tails enter a temple with 2 emerald altars. The room is akin to Hidden Palace's design. Notebooks, research stations, and old computers line some of the room. In the background, a giant mural that's been destroyed is barely visible, almost looking like some sort of water spirit. The emeralds at the altars are grayed out and twice the size of the original emeralds. Sonic touches the emerald and color returns to both. The temple starts rumbling, and the 2 are flung upwards into Marble Garden. Marble Garden itself is pretty much like the original. Crumbling ruins, floating platforms, arrow-shooting totems, everything you'd expect. A platform-heavy stage. The stage itself ends in another temple. Sonic and Tails activate the emeralds, and they are quickly teleported away. Stage 10, Frozen Reef. Ice cap plus lava reef. Sonic and Tails are teleported to the top of the snow caps of Angel Island. Sonic and Tails immediately complain about not being teleported to a warmer environment. Ice cap is basically, again, the same as usual. However, quickly into the stage, Sonic accidentally causes an avalanche and is quickly forced to use a tree trunk to slide down the mountain. So, the same as the original happens, Sonic and Tails are dropped into the caverns below Ice Cap and have to traverse the slippery terrain filled to the brim with Batniks. Eventually, surprise surprise, a third temple, once again filled with leftover research material. Tails notes that they've seen these books at each temple. Sonic just shrugs them off as stuff left over from when it was used to be part of the mainland. Tails notes, however, that while the books have gone through serious wear and tear and most of it is in unreadable code, he can still recognize some of the patterns. They aren't ancient ruins, they're modern speech. Sonic once again tells Tails to just ignore it for now. They have more pressing matters at hand, why these giant emeralds are grayed out and keep sending them to others, and what happens to the Chaos Emeralds in the first place. Just as Sonic touches the emerald and once more both return back to life, the entire room starts quaking, and the temperature rises quickly. Sonic and Tails have the floor beneath them crumble, and the 2 are dropped deep into the mountain. Tails grabs Sonic and flies them both to safety. The 2 arrive at Lava Reef and have gone from shivering cold to balls to the walls heat. However, The lava in front of them, or at least a singular long stretch of it, is cooling down and forming a path for the two. Lava Reef's part of the stage is heavily filled with lava. No insta-death though. Insta-death is dumb. Sonic and Tails will lose 1 ring per second in the lava. Crystals and ancient spires allow Sonic to parkour between the upper and lower routes, and at the end of the stage, there is no temple this time. Instead, you're greeted by a mysterious giant door and a new cutscene. Cutscene number 10. Sonic and Tails arrive at the giant door. Dimly lit by the crystals surrounding it, the door has wires through the cracks and stuff, but it's shut tight. Sonic puts his ear to the door and knocks on it. No response. Tails notes that the door seems to have some mechanism related to the emeralds, as the carvings of the door show various echidnas reaching for the 7 emeralds in the middle. Sonic smirks and tells Tails then that it seems obvious that the giant emeralds are telling them to reactivate all 7 and return here. Sonic and Tails start to walk off, but just then, the lava starts reactivating and the entire area starts shaking. Eggman bursts down from the ceiling in the Egg Drill Mark II, Knuckles holding onto the side. Knuckles tells them to stay away from the emeralds and to get off the island. Sonic smirks and tells him that it was because of him throwing them down into the water ruins that they found the first emeralds. Knuckles immediately jumps into action, but Eggman tells him to stay put and that they'll deal with the pest together. Boss number 6. Knuckle Drillster. So, taking some inspiration from the original Egg Drillster fight in Marble Garden, you have to dodge falling debris as Eggman digs into the walls. However, now you also get to dodge Knuckles. You can hit him, but he won't stay down for too long. Think Zero in Sonic Adventure. Eggman will also shoot his drills at you, like the Egg Robo does in Knuckles' run of Marble Garden Zone. You hit Eggman when his drill gets stuck to one of the walls. Knuckles will try and intercept you at all times, but he's just acting as a distraction. His time to shine will come soon enough. After you destroy the Egg Drillster, the area around you starts shaking even harder. Lava starts bubbling around the arena, and Knuckles grabs Eggman to escape in the hidden passage. Sonic and Tails try to follow them, but is locked tight. The two are starting to be surrounded by lava as they desperately try and find a way out, and just then, the rumbling stops. The two look at each other, breathe a sigh of relief, before having the platform beneath them be launched up high into the air. Stage 11. Desert Fleet, Sandopolis plus Flying Battery. Sonic and Tails land right in the middle of Sandopolis, and in the background we see Eggman's Flying Battery patrolling the area. The two set off for the pyramid in the distance to try and get close to Eggman's flying fortress. So, setting up for the pyramid, the first half of the stage revolves around staying out of sand pits and quicksand that slow you down. The pyramid itself basically acts as a halfway point beacon. Once inside, you accidentally at least ghost from the original, and you now have to try and make your way up to the pyramid to reach the top. Reaching the top of the pyramid, Sonic and Tails jump off the top and with the help of Tails' flight, reach the Flying Battery. Flying Battery itself is like the Mania version. You go up and down and all around the ship. There are 3 reactors in the area itself that you run into. You destroy all 3 and the Flying Battery starts exploding. A small escape before time runs out segment. Sonic and Tails barely escape the exploding ship and jump out of a window as the stage ends. Stage 12. Mushroom Ruins. No merge stage this time, just one big Mushroom Hill stage. Sonic and Tails are flung away from the exploding ship. Sonic is launched face first into the ground of Mushroom Hill while Tails gently floats down, helping Sonic up, who remarks he could have just grabbed him midair. Tails sheepishly laughs and responds. The two then look around the fungi area and are immediately greeted by a huge earthquake. Figuring it has to do with Eggman, the two immediately set off for the 7th and final emerald. Mushroom Hill is another uphill stage, using nefarious mushrooms and machinery to get higher and higher in the area, eventually having the season change due to the lack of power from the emerald. Throughout the stage, however, you are guided by small lights that lead to the 7th temple. All in all, the aim of the stage is to be the last neutral zone of the game, because when you reach the temple, it's time for the end game. When you reach the final temple, the room is once more filled with cryptic murals and notebooks everywhere. Sonic and Tails touch the final emerald, it lights up, and... Cutscene 11. The temple starts shaking, and the emerald shoots out a giant beam of light towards the sky. In fact, all 7 emeralds do. The ground shakes as the emeralds all leave their original temples and converge on the final one. They hover in place in front of Sonic and Tails and grant them a vision. They show them the giant door and lava reef, and a mysterious glow surrounding Sonic, just too far in the distance to see. The vision ends, and the two are a bit awestruck by the giant emeralds. They disappear in a flash, and Sonic and Tails leave the temple. Outside in the distance, they see lights. Not just any lights. Spotlights. And the distant sounds of carnival music. Sonic and Tails immediately run off into the distance, en route to what's probably another Eggman trap. Stage 13. Carnival Palace. Carnival Night plus Hidden Palace. Arriving at Carnival Night Zone, the place has been conveniently built on top of the area above Hidden Palace. The stage itself features everything you'd expect. Annoying bumpers everywhere, underage gambling, the barrels. Knuckles will also be taking more of an active role in the stage. He'll be constantly dropping platforms and trying to kill you with bumpers. Eventually, however, destroying a huge group of badniks causes an explosion that drops you right back into the end of Lava Reef, and in front of the door. Hidden Palace's door opens up, and you're greeted by ruins beyond belief. Murals showing various events, old computers lining the walls, notebooks everywhere, and in the distance, 8 emerald altars and a bright, brilliant light. Making your way through the stage, Knuckles is seen angered in the background. He's desperately throwing boulders at you to stop you from progressing and making the platforms drop. Eventually though, you find yourself in front of Knuckles and a mysterious mural depicting 2 beings fighting for the Master Emerald. Boss number 7, Knuckles. Standing in front of you is Knuckles the Echidna, guardian of the Master Emerald. The boss fight is pretty reminiscent of the original, however this time Knuckles is supercharged, no hitting him and going, "Oh no!" He'll burrow the entire fight and try and catch you off your feet with flying combos and ground hard hitters. Knuckles will lament that he won't give up the Master Emerald to some thieves. Sonic will try and tell him that he's been tricked by Eggman, but he's absolutely not having it. Knuckles will stop at nothing to stop you. Eventually though, you do wear him down, and that's when Eggman comes in. Knuckles and Sonic, both pretty exhausted from their fight, see Eggman going for the Emerald Altar. Knuckles immediately jumps up and chases after Eggman. Sonic and Tails both run after him. The boss fight now switches to trying to stop Eggman from reaching the Emerald Altar, but sadly you just can't make it, and Eggman reaches the Master Emerald Altar. Cutscene 12. Eggman has reached the Master Emerald, and surrounded by it are the 7 Super Emeralds. Eggman starts gloating about how he fooled Knuckles and pitted him against Sonic while he found a way inside of the altar. Knuckles realizes he made a mistake and immediately goes to an attack stance. Sonic questions why he thought they were stealing the emeralds when they were the ones who were reactivating the big ones. Knuckles doesn't respond, from both sheer embarrassment and pure aggro towards Eggman. Eggman pushes a button and the emerald starts being lifted up. Knuckles jumps on the Eggmobile, but Eggman electrocutes him. Knuckles drops from the machine and Eggman runs off. But not before setting off a bunch of explosives and destroying the palace. Tails helps up Knuckles and the 3 run out of the crumbling ruins. Knuckles leads them through a shortcut and they end up near the mountaintops. Knuckles is angered and upset with himself that he let Eggman fool him for this long. Sonic and Tails kind of shrug and tell him now's the time to make up for it. Sonic runs off immediately, but Tails stays behind a little bit to tell Knuckles that they're going to help him get the Master Emerald back. Tails flies after Sonic and Knuckles looks on in the distance with a bewildered look on his face, before running after his newfound comrades. Stage 14. Launch Base Sanctuary. Launch Base plus Sky Sanctuary. Sonic and Tails run among the snowy mountaintops and come across the rebuilt Death Egg and its surrounding station. They immediately run off to stop the Death Egg from launching while powered by the Master Emerald. As one of the final stages in the game, this would be one of the hardest levels. Launch Base will be filled with badnik troopers that attack you from every angle. It is, however, a more horizontal level filled with chemical vats and high-rise platforms. As you get closer to the Death Egg, however, it starts taking off, and sadly by the time the 2 get there, it's too far up. It's then that Knuckles shows up and shows them to a teleporter, and the 3 are transported towards the Sky Sanctuary, and immediately see it's absolutely overrun with egg robos. Knuckles tells them to get on board that space station while he tries and keeps the sanctuary afloat, as without the power of the Master Emerald, the place will start crumbling at any moment. So, as a complete 180 from the first half, you're now trying to reach the top of the sanctuary while it's literally crumbling around you as the Death Egg is off close in the distance. Egg robos constantly stand in your way, but as Sonic and Tails reach the apex of the area, they manage to jump off just in time to reach the Death Egg. Stage 15. Death Egg. The final stage of the main story, the Death Egg is massive and features mini-boss fights to proceed towards the heart of the station, fighting previous bosses, albeit with less health, just so you're not there forever. You make your way up to the station, gravity puzzles, and floating runways everywhere. Also, the architecture is now more like the Death Egg in Sonic 3, just so you know. All the while, Eggman will once again be heard over the radio as he makes a public broadcast to Earth, talking about how he'll use the power of the mythical Master Emerald to create the ultimate theme park and let everybody know his true genius. Sonic and Tails get more and more annoyed as the stage goes on. Each repeat boss is also piloted by an Egg Robo, basically using scraps of Eggman while he's busy at the center of the station. Just then, Eggman launches a warning shot towards Earth. You can hear him laughing on the radio just as you get to his doorstep. Cutscene 13. This is the final stand against Eggman. He's standing in the middle of the room with the Master Emerald encased in a giant glass dome in the background. Eggman gloats, saying that he's finally won and there's nothing they can do while he holds the power of the Master Emerald, and that not even the 7 emeralds themselves could do anything against it. Tails takes a battle stance while Sonic smugly says that they've beaten him before and will do it again, emeralds or not. And after some back and forths, Eggman pushes a button and the entire area disappears. They're up in space and it's revealed that the Master Emerald is actually powering a giant mech. Boss 8, Master Egg Robo. Eggman will use the power of the Master Emerald to send constant beams of energy towards Sonic and Tails, having to quickly dodge to get close to the Emerald and break it free. Eggman uses everything at his disposal to stop you from getting to the Emerald. You, also like in the original, have to hit him once for the shield to open up, and to allow you to hit its core with the Emerald. Enough hits and Eggman will use one final desperation move, which Tails knocks you out of the way for. Tails is sent flying backwards down into the Death Egg. Sonic, absolutely enraged, tries to attack the robot, but he's caught off guard by one final fist attack from Eggman. Eggman laughs as he starts pummeling Sonic over and over with the robot's mech hand. Cutscene 14. Eggman gloats, saying he was never going to be beat by some blue rodent and a mutant fox. It's then revealed that Tails was saved by Knuckles, who breaks the glass cage that the Emerald was held in. While Tails activates his self-destruct with the Death Egg once again. Knuckles helps Sonic up, as Eggman makes one last desperate attempt to flee with the Master Emerald. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles desperately chase after Eggman, each trying to grab back the giant emerald before the space station explodes, but no luck. Knuckles gets antsy and tells them that they'll figure something out and to get out before they die in the explosions. Tails agrees, but Sonic keeps running, and eventually the three are separated due to falling debris. Tails tries to call out to Sonic, who just looks back and winks before speeding off after Eggman. Tails tries to go after Sonic, but is stopped by Knuckles, who takes him back down to Angel Island. Sonic and Eggman are in one last chase, with Sonic trying his best to keep up despite his exhaustion. Just then, Eggman drops down, and after a few seconds, re-emerges with the final weapon, destroying the remaining footholds and taking off into space. Sonic is left careening down into the empty void below him. Just then, on Angel Island, 7 bright lights shine up. The 7 Super Emeralds all rise up from the wreckage of Hidden Palace and in an instant surround Sonic. Sonic, feeling the warm energy of the emeralds, looks around, sees Eggman making a break for it, and in an instant, Sonic transforms using the Super Emeralds. A bright flash emerges, which can be seen even down from the planet. Sonic, glowing in the 7 colors of the emeralds, speeds off after Eggman. Boss 9, Doomsday. Much like the original, the goal here is to rush directly into Eggman's mech and not give him any room to breathe. You collect rings to keep up your hyperform in the surrounding area while trying to keep up with Eggman. No quips, no jokes. Sonic is dead set on stopping Eggman. Eggman launches rockets and missiles towards Sonic. You won't lose rings upon getting hit, you will however be knocked back further and further. However, as a fun gimmick, the longer you stay in your hyperform, the slower Eggman will go, as if time itself is starting to slow down. Sonic will speed up more and more, eventually just becoming a blur of light, kind of as a reward/pity for taking too long in the fight, but managing to keep your rings up. Enough hits and pop goes the Eggman. The robot is destroyed and sent careening into the planet below while Sonic grabs the Master Emerald and returns to Angel Island. Cutscene 15. Sonic speeds down from space with the Emerald and almost in an instant arrives in front of Knuckles and Tails on Angel Island. Tails and Knuckles are awestruck by Hypersonic, but as quickly as the power appeared, it disappeared even faster. The emeralds remove themselves from Sonic, but now grayed out once more. The giant emeralds disappear in a flash, but leave the 7 Chaos Emeralds in their stead. Knuckles questions how Sonic was able to tap into the power of the Super Emeralds, and if he was the one the mural spoke of. Sonic just shrugs and says he won't die too easily for the sake of the world, and pats Tails' head. Knuckles then stands in front of Sonic and Tails and immediately asks for their forgiveness for his past actions, and thanks them for saving the Emerald at Angel Island. Sonic punches Knuckles on his forehead slightly and tells him he doesn't need to thank them. Knuckles is annoyed, but he laughs. Sonic reaches out his hand and tells him if Eggman ever shows up again, they'll come running to help out. Knuckles looks at Sonic and Tails, Tails smiling behind Sonic. Knuckles sheds a tear and grabs Sonic's hand and tells him he'll hold him to that. Tails also grabs their hands, and the 3 cheer in celebration. We skip ahead to Knuckles standing at the Emerald Altar, now back on the upper part of the island. He watches as Sonic and Tails fly off in the distance in the tornado. He smiles and says thank you to his newfound friends. Tails asks Sonic what they should do next, and Sonic says that it seems like it's about time for a vacation. Tails nods and sets off towards the horizon. Down in the ocean, however, Eggman is seen floating around the wreckage of the final weapon. He is absolutely livid that he lost once again to Sonic, but just as he lays there, an idea comes to his mind. Eggman smirks as he lets his hands run through the water, noting that it seems so obvious what to do next now. Sonic and Tails are in the fields of the Mystic Ruins. Sonic is lazing about the grass while Tails is tinkering with the tornado. The two are approached by a stranger. He thanks them for dealing with Dr. Eggman and that they appreciate what they've done for the world. Sonic shrugs it off and says he did it just because he couldn't let Eggman have any fun. The stranger laughs and says that Sonic can believe that if he wants to. He once more thanks the two as he walks off. We then see the gun logo on his shoulder. Sonic and Tails just shrug and go back to what they were doing. Cutting away one last time to Angel Island at night, Knuckles is seen asleep at the top of the altar. But we zoom in on the Master Emerald, and we see energy move inside it, almost liquid-like. And that's how the main story ends. Fuck me, that was a lot, right? So let's talk about what you unlock upon clearing the main story, because, like, a game where you collect emeralds where you can't play as Supersonic, like, what, that's crazy. What is this, the 2000s? So, upon clearing the main story, you unlock a post-story, a small adventure of just Sonic, which unlocks a brand new character. A certain Rose? Don't worry, I'll go into detail on how each character plays in my head. So unlocking a mini-campaign, you're able to play through the Sonic CD campaign. No merge stages on that one. The time travel gimmick would already make the stages long enough. So quickly going into detail, basically takes place after the Angel Island incident. Sonic is off taking a break and exploring the world, while Tails opted to stay behind and do some adventuring of his own. Sonic arrives at Never Lake to see the yearly arrival of Little Planet. However, upon his arrival, we see that Eggman has locked Never Lake to a mountain and has turned it into a metallic satellite. Sonic immediately jumps into action, but unbeknownst to him, a pink figure follows his every move. And from there on out, it's basically just Sonic CD. The main gimmick will be the travel between the past and the future to destroy the Metal Sonic holograms and roboticizers and all that stuff. However, unlike the main story, you can find the time stones in the stage directly and they aren't tied to the story. Getting all 7 time stones doesn't unlock a super form or anything, but it does allow you to travel between the past and the future at the press of a button instead of having to reach top speed for a bit. The idea will basically be like, go back in the past, make a good future, go into the future, and then grab the time stone so you can go back to the present. Amy Rose and Metal Sonic would obviously be introduced, and after clearing the CD mini-campaign, you would unlock Amy for free play in the entire game. Speaking of, let's talk about free play. So, upon clearing the main story, you unlock free play, as sort of a level select / auto player where you can pick any of the 4 playable characters. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are able to run through any of the stages of the main campaign. And once you clear the CD mini-campaign, Amy and the Little Planet stages are unlocked for free play, allowing you to play as all 4 characters in every single stage. All characters will also have their super forms unlocked from the get-go. While in the stages themselves, you might have to activate the Super Emeralds for the story, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy all are capable of activating super forms. Sonic himself, however, would have Supersonic or Hypersonic in stages as a toggle, because, you know, I'm not going to keep that as a final boss only transformation. Like, what am I, cruel? Unlocked in free play would also be what I like to call egg tapes, little data logs hidden in each stage that features voice dialogue by Eggman where he goes through his thoughts and stuff of the level in question and what he's doing at that point in the story. And to throw in some fun, red rings unlock a concept art gallery of the game and a music player. Basically a good few things to keep you replaying the stages if you so choose to. So I've talked a lot about the stages and all that, but how exactly would each character play? Well, don't worry, because I got some stuff for that as well. So, starting off with the main man himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. Again, all of what I've been saying here has been in a perfect world, so I can go as crazy as I want, and as an aside, every character is fully 3D. So, Sonic would have his usual 2D playstyle in 3D. Now I know this might scare some people, but run up a slope, you slow down. Run down a slope, you go faster. I know, absolutely groundbreaking stuff for a Sonic game. Anyway, jokes aside, Sonic would have his rolling down hills and slopes would increase your speed and allow you to ramp yourself off of stuff. Sonic's entire gimmick will be replaying a stage over and over to find the fastest way through it, or taking a more scenic route to be more styleful. However, I'm also introducing new mechanics that allow you to more easily retain speed. No more drop-dead platforming sections. If you know how the game works, you can fly through it at supersonic speed. Trademark. Also, the spin dash is there like an adventure. You can charge it up on the run with a button and unroll with the same one. Parkour returns. However, instead of being on an invisible speedometer bar like in Lost World, it's now free roam. Think Green Hill Paradise Act 2. Momentum based, meaning that you'll have to either go up a wall or a surface with enough speed to completely go up it and get a secret goodie, or try and maneuver your way up and down the wall to get enough speed. In addition to this, to help out with the fast-paced platforming, Sonic now has a speed grab. Basically, if you're speeding through the level and going through a heavy platforming section and you just miss a ledge, pressing the bumper will allow you to speed grab. Sonic will grab the nearest ledge and then use his forward momentum to launch himself forwards, using the ledge as a jump board. Next is my personal favorite new gimmick, an upgrade to Sonic's bounce. Remember when I said that I wanted to make Sonic's gameplay styles have less heartbreak moments? Well, when I was thinking of new gimmicks and stuff, I realized the bounce is kind of a perfect move if you adjust it just right. It can be an amazing speedrunning tool and replacement for wall jumping. So the bounce obviously returns. It retains your momentum, so when you use it on, say, a slope while going fast, you basically just blast off into the atmosphere. But introduced in this game is an angled bounce, where basically if you hold forward or backwards, Sonic will bounce at that specific angle, which can bounce him off walls. So, introducing the wall bounce. Imagine a scenario where you need to quickly scale up a wall. Using the angled bounce, you launch yourself into the wall and subsequently backwards into the other one. Rinse and repeat until you reach the top. If you can manage to keep up your speed using this, you're basically able to scale specific wall jump puzzles without having to slow down like normal. Oh, and I'm bringing in the drop dash. It's a great move. The next new move for Sonic I want to introduce is the homing chain. If there's one thing that annoys me in Sonic games that have the homing attack, is that it slows you down, big time. You could be going at full speed, having a good time, but then you're forced into an instant death pit and the only way out is hitting badniks. So, alongside the normal homing attack, the homing chain is there for scenarios where multiple badniks are in a row and you can blast through them, allowing you to keep up your speed and run through a stage without being forced to slow down. Alongside that, Sonic's little air dash, if there's no enemies, is still there. Double tap jump for the air dash and you'll grind down to a halt. Double tap and hold jump down, you can carry your momentum with the air dash. As for sharp turns, the drift is there. Gotta go faster turns, you know, like, it's a good move. And that's basically it. Sonic's playstyle with some adjustments made to incorporate Sonic's speed. In my mind's eye, with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to pull off some stupidly cool tricks. Supersonic and Hypersonic basically play the same. Stuff like parkour can be done entirely without momentum. As Hypersonic, however, like in a final boss fight, the longer you stay in the form, time starts slowing down. You slowly but surely start turning into a blur of rainbow light. Is it chaos control? Yeah, essentially as a reward for playing well. Up next, Tails. So, as a quick note for every character, I'm going with the classic design philosophy. Every character is like Sonic, but slower and with a gimmick. Tails plays basically exactly as you'd expect. Free roam flight in the stages, rolling like Sonic, and just for the fun of it, the tail attack from Adventure. So, free roam flight is pretty self-explanatory. Tails' entire gameplay mechanic will be having the ability to fly through an entire stage, if you know what to do, or slowing down and hunting for secrets by using his flight. However, if you do need to run down on the ground, you can use the usual rolling down slope. Tails would also be given a tail bounce. If you ever run out of flight above a pit or something, you can use that tail bounce to quickly bounce off enemies and regain height to get yourself to safety. Tails would also be able to use his legs to ledge grab, in case you run out of flight just as you hit a ledge or there's no enemies to bounce off of. Super Tails would have the usual super former benefits, invincibility, and all that good stuff. His free roam flight will be unending, so you can basically cheese entire stages if you so choose. All in all, not much needs to be changed about Tails in 3D, as his playstyle and adventure was pretty much perfect. So up next, Knuckles. Knuckles would have the rolling gimmick like Sonic and Tails. He has a lower jump height than Sonic, but makes up for it with gliding and climbing. I would obviously give Knuckles the ability to spin dash on walls, allowing him to go up them faster, and seeing as we're in a 3D plane, he has full movements on walls, up, down, left, and right. Knuckles would also have the added benefit of hidden areas. He uses his connection to the Master Emerald and his treasure hunting nature to find hidden areas with red rings and data logs. These wouldn't be Knuckles specific routes, however, just multiple small hidden treasure rooms in each zone. Just a way to grind them out if you want to get all the artwork and stuff. Gliding returns. If you hit an enemy while gliding, you retain your height. Chaining enemies basically gives you flight for a short period of time. You'll also be able to meteor dive from a glide and be put into a ball once you reach the ground if you hold the button. Kind of acting as a replacement for Sonic's bounce, you can use it to hard dive onto a platform or a slope to roll down and gain speed. Super Knuckles, like Tails, gets the invincibility, but not much else. Your gliding is fully horizontal now, and you no longer slowly glide downwards. Your meteor dive now does more damage, basically the usual stuff. And last but not least, Amy Rose. So, Amy hasn't been properly playable in a 3D game since Adventure, and considering that Heroes essentially shares playstyles between each team, I want to take a different approach. So to get started, Amy can't roll. She can triple jump like an Adventure, but when you try to roll down slopes with her, she instead uses her hammer like a sled. Pressing the jump button in midair activates her Pico Bounce, allowing you to bounce off enemies, chain enemies, and you'll go higher and higher. However, to play into her tarot card readings and mysticism, Amy can use ceiling cards for extra moves. Throwing a ceiling card on an enemy will allow Amy to throw her hammer towards it and use the enemy as a grappling hook. The enemy will also be temporarily pacified, allowing you to stand on enemies to get an extra platform in case you need it. Throw a ceiling card, throw your hammer, and hold down the button to instead use the enemy like a pole and spin around it to give yourself more speed and height on your jump if you time it right. Think like the pulls from adventure and modern games where you can launch yourself as Sonic, loops around it constantly. I literally cannot think of the name. I'll put a screenshot on the screen. It's this thing, you know this thing? Anyway. Chaining ceiling cards will allow Amy to have her own homing chain, a Pico chain. Hold down the button, time slows down, and lock onto a chain of enemies. When the button is released, all enemies that were targeted will be hit with a ceiling card and a number. Amy can throw her hammer and be flung across the stage in a pink blur as she takes out the enemies per number. This can be done in midair as well, so if you're falling and need to regain ground, you'll be able to throw ceiling cards. However, you can stop this mid-Pico chain and switch to the platforming move mentioned earlier. In the same vein, Amy will be able to save the ceiling cards on bosses. Instead of hitting the enemy constantly, she can opt to instead chain the cards on the boss, and when enough cards are thrown into the boss, one quick hammer throw and the boss goes down in one hit. Super Amy would have the usual invincibility, and also her ceiling cards can now be done instantly. Instead of having to wait for each enemy to be targeted while holding the button, I call this Pico Space, they'll be instantly targeted and you're able to dash through them faster. And that's Amy's playstyle. You can kinda see her as the hard mode of the game, but I figured it would be fun to have Amy be playable with a fresh coat of paint. Did I get most of these ideas from the new Gunfold game? Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Man, I am sick and tired of having long, boring 2D parts in my gosh darn 3D Sonic games. And I am also sick and tired of having linear auto-run parts in my 3D level design. So for that reason, once again, using the perfect world excuse, the Sonic team in my head is the one that made Generations, and they're ready, willing, and prepared to fight to make a big, beautiful game with just 3D and no 2D. The level design would use the Sonic 3K and Mania approach, big levels with lots of paths that reward you for exploration. If you honestly stop to think about it, by the time of 1994 or 1995, Sonic was slowly but surely turning into a stage-based Metroidvania. But I do think this was some of the best level design in 2D Sonic. So let's translate that into 3D, using Sonic's parkour gimmicks and the other characters' special abilities. The level design would have to have a linear path through, akin to the 2D games. It shouldn't be a challenge to get through a stage normally, but you should be rewarded for exploring. If you see a wall, you should be able to scale it. If you see a hidden room, you should be able to get to it. But if you want to just skip all of that, you should be able to. The level design should reward you for knowing how the game works by allowing you to skip massive chunks of the areas if you know how to. But the level design should still encourage you to explore if you so choose to. I also didn't want to add special stages. Most modern 3D games don't have these, and let's face it, the special stages are in a weird canon limbo even today. Classic games implied the emeralds would send themselves there, modern games just have them lying around in random places, and then there's Lost World 3DS, which is just... ugh. So in true modern fashion, the emeralds have been made part of the story instead of a collectible used to extend playtime. In that same vein, I felt like if we were merging all 5 classic Sonic games together, not counting the pure unadulterated Kino that is Knuckles Chaotix, having Green Hill and Chemical Plant by themselves again would just be boring, and it in turn would run the stage number up by a lot more. So instead, I opted to have most stages being mergers to give you more variety in the stage design while also just not having stages reappear. The game would be the perfect way to expand on the original lore and stuff, so each stage would be given a proper theme and an explanation as to why that theme is there. No more wondering why South and West Side Island have actual cities on them, despite in canon, they're constantly on the move and somewhat urban legends. That's explained now. Oh, and animals and humans live together on the mainland, no weird disconnects. That's just dumb. Whew! Alright. This is certainly my longest video. I'm pretty sure I touched on everything I wanted to touch. Now you might ask yourself if the ending of the main story was setting up a sequel. And yeah, I can't even hide that. I have a few ideas on how to rewrite Shadow and make heroes fit in better with Adventure 1 and 2. So, you know, if people like this video and want to hear more, please look forward to Sonic Legacy 2, Dawn of Destiny, Revengeance. I'm working on that name, don't worry. Other than that though, tell me what you think. Did you like these ideas? Do you hate them? Please just let me know in the comments below. I basically just wrote down how I'd make my perfect modern Sonic game. Because contrary to popular belief, I also really want to see modern Sonic and that branch of the franchise succeed. And don't get me wrong, Sonic Team has me in their grasp. I will be day one running through Frontiers as much as I can and stream it for all to see. I've put up a placeholder stream. Please look forward to that whenever the release date is actually dropped. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I put a decent chunk of effort into it, and I was actually going to have drawn images to have as visual aid for how I want stuff to look, but then I realized I suck at art. So I spared you from that toddler looking mess. And on that note, I hope to see you in the next video. What will that video be? I don't know. I haven't really thought of it yet. Might be Sonic, might be 14. Anyway, see ya. Love ya. Mwah.